Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of I'll Be There with Pristine Events. I'm Priya.
I'm Nim.
And today we are talking all about wedding entertainment.
Entertainment?
Yes.
That's what a wedding is for, to entertain your guests, right?
No, it's for the couple and the guests come secondary.
It's like a show, though, that you're putting on for your guests.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't, I suppose. I think it needs to be personal enough where actually it still feels like your day, but there's elements of it that are entertaining rather than the whole thing feeling like a production performance.
Yeah, I guess entertainment is quite a broad term, right? Because everything should to some extent be entertaining the guests. Like obviously the ceremony, I guess, isn't entertaining per se, but they still should be enjoying it. Yeah. And then everything outside of that, for example, the music that's going alongside it should be entertaining. The entrances should be to some extent entertaining. Yeah. Any filler time, cocktail hour, the reception, the performances, the speeches, everything should be entertaining. You don't
want your guests to be bored at your wedding, and you can tell when guests are bored and they're flagging and they're like sitting down and looking a bit like miserable. You want them to feel like they're thoroughly enjoying each part of your day, and you want each part of your day to feel a bit different. So in an ideal world, you would have a venue where you can use different spaces so it feels different visually. But if you can't have that, if you're using the same room and it's being turned around or whatever it is, then entertainment is a great way to be able to make it feel different.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have to do a few episodes on timeline planning maybe next. But I think depending on the time in your timeline, if time allows for it, then I think having entertainment at different parts of your day is a great idea. So typically for a ceremony, you would have some sort of like live music if you can.
Yeah, so let's start with the ceremony, right? So you've got either your civil ceremony or you've got your cultural ceremony.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for a civil ceremony, what are you thinking in terms of entertainment? I say entertainment very broadly. I mean, we do just mean singers for the civil ceremony, right? It'd be weird if you had like a juggler.
Good, like juggling as people walked in.
The keys, the rings.
I think it would be nice. You don't need, you need music ideally, but that can just be plugged in. But if you've got the budget, I think having either a live singer is really nice, or
string quartet.
Yay! You knew what I was going to say.
Harpist.
A harpist is really nice.
Proper bouge.
Yeah, harpist is really bouge actually, but you need the space for a harpist to take up a lot of space. So just bear that in mind with your venue.
Choir.
Yeah, we've done
a
few church weddings, and our friend's wedding had a gospel choir, and that was unreal.
That was very good.
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking of what they were singing in my head.
What were they singing? That's so funny.
I can't sing.
Yeah,
everybody say Kim and Ryan.
Oh yeah. That was the couple's name.
Ryan. Yeah, they were amazing. I think some form of we've done a few church weddings and they've had a choir. It is really nice. Sometimes people just do just like one instrument, like a violin. It's quite nice just to play. So I think having some sort of live music is a nice touch.
Yeah.
You go on?
No, you speak.
And I was going to say you would more have that for a civil ceremony, a cultural ceremony. Most of the time, tends to be just music, right? Like just played music.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we've got our kind of Hindu or Sikh weddings that we do for the most part, and I think the mainstay of entertainment is dolls, right? Or dollies.
Yeah.
And then I think previously you just have the dolls which are part of your entrance as part of the Bharat or the Jan. But these days you've got bands, so you've got the dolls who play alongside either a DJ or they play alongside trumpets and what are the other instruments?
I think trombones. Maybe a saxophone. I can't remember what else. Is it not sax?
I said saxophone the other day, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's normally trumpets and trombones, like a mix, and then the door players, and they'll play like a fusion of like Indian songs, but then like English songs. Like the other wedding we did a few weeks ago, they were playing to Bruno Mars, Bruno Mars "Marry You," which was really sweet. That's quite a nice fusion. I've got a couple next year who are Scottish and Indian, so the bride is
bagpipes.
Yeah, well, the bride is Scottish and Caucasian. Can you say white? Caucasian white?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
Matt, can we say white?
I mean, my best friends are white, so I feel like it's okay. Anyway, the bride is Scottish and white, and the groom is Indian, and so they're having for their entrance, their barat, they want door players with bagpipes,
that would be
which
sick.
is really cool.
But that probably doesn't exist by itself, right?
No, they said they
really?
actually do. I think it's a very niche. There's probably only one company that does it, but that's a nice way to
really
show
cool.
culture. And like, yeah, I think that's a really nice way to do it. And actually, I think music and entertainment in general is a great way to show, if you're having a mixed culture wedding or even any culture wedding, it's a nice way to show your culture.
Yeah, and it really lifts the mood as well. I think when we're talking about Jans and Barats, I feel like now if we do a wedding without doors, it feels really flat.
Yeah.
It's really hard for your crowd to kind of bring that level of excitement without some sort of music. And I think you might have like a big speaker, like a boombox that you can carry around, but I just think live music is really key for these sorts of things. It makes you feel like you're part of it. I've seen steel drums actually for we did a Jamaican Indian wedding. You went there, so I think they had doors, but again it was the Jamaican side who were doing the like Indian Barat, then they had a steel drum playing.
See, that's so cool. Really cool. I love that when you show like your culture, your personality, and it's like a fusion. It's so different.
And they had like Jamaican flags waving as they were coming down. It was very cool.
Okay, great. So basically we're saying for the ceremony, whether it's cultural, whether it's civil, ideally the entertainment will be some form of music, basically.
Yeah.
Or singers or vocalists. Okay, great. Then moving on, if you are serving lunch afterwards, do you need any entertainment for lunch?
I don't think so. I think it's nice to have background music.
Yeah.
If you've got musicians already on site, for example, some people during their ceremony might have live music. So, I mean, we've talked about the civil ceremony, but the cultural ceremony, you might have a tabla player, you might have a singer, you might have a flute player, like things that really set the mood. And I think it's nice if you can have that. I've seen that less in Indian weddings, more at Tamil weddings. I've seen that people play also during the lunch ceremony because, well, they're already there, so just carry on playing. But I think it's nice. It just kind of keeps that mood. Otherwise, if you actually like go to a wedding lunch and just sit there, it's just like noise in the background.
Yeah.
And like with music, people just, I mean, they still speak, but it's just a kind of nice environment. Whereas when there's nothing, you just kind of actually just hear like really loud, like rackety sounds and chaos.
Yeah, agree. I completely agree. I also think I don't really like silence, as you know. So I feel like if you can, a lot of venues have inbuilt speakers.
Yeah.
So I think if you can use
and
those.
often they'll also have they might have a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
They normally do, like for something that's happening outside. So always inquire with your venue to see if they have one, to save you bringing one. If they don't have an inbuilt sound system, and then just like plug an iPad in.
Yeah.
And then just play some sort of like wedding lunch background music that fits your theme. So if it's after a civil, obviously have white music, or play cultural music or something like that.
No, I agree. Going back though, I just thought of something else for groom entrances for Indian weddings. We talked about music and obviously door players or bands. We talked about potentially having a portable speaker. Sometimes we've seen people actually have DJs that DJ live.
Yeah.
During
more for destination weddings. I haven't seen that in the UK, have you?
We did it recently. He didn't DJ along with them, but he was DJing while.
Oh yeah, sorry. The DJ was set up here, and then they did the Barat alongside. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of when they go in those little cars.
Yeah.
And in the back
at the Marrakesh wedding. Yeah. So
that's
and even just having a tuk-tuk or a car is a form of entertainment, right? During your Jan, if you have a horse, if you have a car, if you have like the abroad ones, will have either the hotel buggies or something. We're hiring, like for example, the wedding that we're doing in Italy, we're hiring a tuk-tuk. So that in itself is quite cool and quite different, and you can try and tag on the music with that, so have the DJ either playing from the back of it or have a portable speaker in it. I think that also adds something different and exciting, because you want, especially for the entrance bit, you want people hyped up. Like we've seen some amazing lively barats and some really not so lively barats, and you're literally in the middle of the street like energy come on, like trying to get the crowd going. So I think if you can create that atmosphere, it's really nice.
And also know your crowd, right? So if you know they're not going to be a sort of lively crowd, maybe don't like allocate 25 minutes and have like 25 smoke flares, because the juxtaposition of like the colourful flares shutting down central London and there's just silence. It's awkward silence. Okay, so let's talk about after the wedding lunch. We have the drinks reception normally, right? So drinks reception, I think, is where people can either get carried away with entertainment, or that's where they start to get creative. So what have we seen? So we've seen magicians.
I'm a big fan of magicians.
I love magic.
On that note.
But
I think when I pitch magicians to some couples, like especially the foreplanning ones who I'm like helping from the beginning, a lot of them think it's like cringe, like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, or like, I don't know, like bringing out a wand, and I don't know, like I'm like, guys, no, the ones that I've seen at weddings, they like read your mind. Like, it's insane. I am mind blown. You are mind blown, and you're really like skeptical of these things.
No, but I also love magic.
You do, but like it's not cringe tricks. It's literally like a lot of them will do like mentalism and like mind reading, and they'll somehow know things about you or guess things about you, and like it's such an interactive entertainment, because sometimes if you have got music it's amazing, but people don't notice it because it's in the background. They may not even necessarily know that you have got a live musician because they may not see them and assume it's just like playing. But a magician will, if they're a good one, will work the crowd and will interact, and people won't forget that. They'll be like, oh my god, did you see that magician? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the issue is that a magician, almost the opposite of what you just said, like music everyone can hear, right? I mean, aside from being really far away from the speaker, whereas a magician, unless they're on a stage, they can only perform to the people directly in front of them. So you can be at a drinks reception where actually if there's 150, 200 guests, maybe more, you can only really perform to 5 people. So that magician might spend 10 minutes or so, and in an hour drinks reception, that's only 6 times 5, a group of 5, so that's 30 people that he may perform to. So you might not see it, but I don't think that's a reason not to get a magician, because I think if you know there's a magician there and you hear about it, you might kind of be drawn to it. And I think it is, you have this, people, myself included, like when you say a magician, you immediately, like you said, think of a man taking a rabbit out of a hat, or you think of magicians at children's birthdays. But the level of magicians that we've seen at weddings, functions, events, corporate events have them all the time. Like it's incredible. I think it's a great option to have.
And on that note of you saying they only may be able to get through 30 people, a lot of magicians will have packages where they do the drinks reception, and then during dinner they'll go around to each table and just like show a couple tricks. So that is an option. So at least that way you're getting kind of more from them, and hopefully more people can use them. So I think magicians are great. What else have we seen?
I guess this comes under entertainment, but they have sketch artists, caricature artists. I think those are really good. I think particularly ones where they can get through a lot of people. So like maybe the smaller sort of drawings without spending maybe 25 minutes, because then you can only get through a few of them. But sometimes, like often the couple will give the artist maybe 20 people who are their kind of primary people that they want drawn, and they'll make sure that they're done as a priority, and then some of the other guests, they'll give theirs later on and they'll post it to the couple. I think that's a good one.
And that can be used as favours as well.
Yeah,
like not just as an entertainment, people have it and it will say like the date and the wedding, so that's a nice double up. But also be realistic with your numbers. If you have 300 guests, they're unlikely going to be able to do 300 sketches even afterwards, unless you're paying them to take a picture of every single guest and then draw every single guest afterwards, and like you said, post it. So I think just bear that in mind, because you've got to be realistic with what they can get through. But I do love that as a favour and as like a form of entertainment. I think there are also obviously the standard ones in terms of musicians.
I think if you haven't had them already during the day, or if it's sort of carrying on as part of the day, I guess it's difficult because you don't want to be repetitive. Like for example, if you had a string quartet and they get the same string quartet, but at the same time, if they're there for the whole day, or you've paid them to come out to wherever your wedding is, you may as well use them again. I think one option is, for example, if they're a quartet, maybe just get the violinist for the morning, and then for the drinks reception, maybe you get the whole quartet.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Which is quite nice.
And some musicians and like band companies, so for example, recently we just worked with a really big 13-piece set band from Sensation Band, who were amazing for a big wedding we did at the Langham. And they were a great company because actually they provide everything. So we had a string quartet from them for the ceremony, then we had a roaming band, and roaming bands are great for drinks reception. So they're kind of just like 2 or 3 people. They can walk through the crowd and perform, or they can just be stationed in one place. And they were more like sax, kind of drums, like kind of, I don't know, it was giving like Ibiza vibes, like that was the vibe of them. And then the actual reception, sit down dinner, there was the 13-piece band. So sometimes you can find companies who can provide you a bit of everything in terms of music, whether that's just vocalists or musicians or both together. So I think if music's important to you and entertainment's important to you, then I think finding a company like that, and some of the bigger DJ companies do offer that, where they offer like tabla players for the morning or sitar players for the morning, can offer you a band for the evening, can offer you like an acoustic vocalist for the drinks reception. So sometimes it just makes sense, because then you can get it as a package and it works out more cost effective.
It's a good tip.
Yeah. Other things I'm trying to think entertainment wise. So we've seen like more not rare, but more unique things like fire dancers. We've people do like the little mini golf party, like the wedding mini golf, and it's all like wedding themed. We've seen lawn games, which are quite a big one. I never used to think lawn games got played, but I actually have seen people play them. So
I think it really depends on the setup. So if you just have outdoor space and you think, okay, I've got outdoor space, let's play lawn games, I don't think it's necessarily the way to come up with that idea. But if the space, for example, the one that we did in the last couple of months, so they've never even got into the building to then leave the building to then go outside, so actually when they're entering they see the lawn games in front of them, and that's kind of the entire space. And we made sure that everything was quite close together and factored in the fact that, okay, there's only about 200 people here, you know, it's not going to take up all of this space, let's bring the lawn games closer. And then people actually used it. And also if you kind of half start playing the games, I feel like people are like, oh, okay, this isn't just a prop, and they start playing it as well.
And that's kind of a good cost-effective option, because you don't need anyone there to man them. Same with the mini golf; it just gets set up, and I've seen people use that every time that we've seen the mini golf there as well.
Yeah, I've seen couples word searches and crosswords.
Yeah.
Like
Sip
printed nicely. Yeah, that's it. Sip and solve. Is that a thing? Is that what it's actually called? I see. I thought they came up with that name. Yeah, but like that, sip and solve.
That's really nice. So that's basically, for those that don't know, like Nim said, a crossword, but the clues are questions about the couple, like where did they first meet, or where did he propose to her, and then you have to guess the answer, and the pen is like erasable, so you can once you've filled it in, erase it. But it's quite a nice talking point and gets everyone kind of, and again, I wasn't sure if people were gonna do it, but they did. Everyone was crowded round and most of it was filled in, so I think people had all gone in and given their guesses, which was really good. Other things that we've seen that have been good, I've seen people set up like arcade games. Not me personally, but through our team, they've shown me that someone had like in their drinks reception set up like, what's the old school games called, like the pinball and like those,
that's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Oh, okay,
very
like pinball,
vintage.
like old school.
Yeah,
type
like
of games.
vintage.
I thought you meant like a Nintendo, and I just thought that was maybe that's a bit antisocial.
Just sitting in the corner.
Yeah, just like PlayStation in the corner.
The kids would love that though.
Yeah, and the adults.
But yeah, so that's quite cool that you can hire these like actual vintage old school arcade games, which could be pretty cool. What else have we seen? And what else?
I've also seen that at some drinks receptions, part of the bar team will act as the entertainment. So for example, they might have a mojito bar, so that in itself is quite entertaining. They might also have like a wine sommelier, so that could be either during the drinks reception or the early part of the wedding ceremony itself, the drinks reception. They might even have a wine sommelier, so the wine sommelier can kind of walk around during the drinks reception or for the sit-down meal afterwards, or a beer sommelier if you're into that. That's a nice touch.
That's really cool, especially if you are doing like flavoured mojitos or flavoured margaritas and you've got like a station and you can like pick. I think that's quite an interactive. Anything interactive is just a good thing for guests, because then it just takes up their time. They're not just sat there with the same glass of Prosecco. And this goes back to how long your drinks reception is. If it's an hour, you don't have to worry too much about having so much entertainment.
Yeah, I think if it's an hour, I think just one of these things, and it'd probably be just music. But if it's like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, it can be, either because you think that your guests are going to come late, or you actually need that time to turn the room around. I think you need to keep the guests occupied. You need to keep them fed well. You need to keep them not thirsty, and you need to keep them entertained.
Yes, agree. So like you said, if it's over an hour, consider a couple of different forms of entertainment.
And part of that might even be, for example, food stations. Having a live food station in and of itself is entertaining.
Yeah.
So rather than just standing next to the door where the canapes are coming out from, like actually seeing people cook food in front of you is a form of entertainment. Like people travel around to God knows where just to go to a food truck or to see like things happen in front of them, but that they wouldn't do necessarily if they were just buying it from a restaurant.
And I think especially to have that element of like, oh, I'm adding my own toppings, or I'm picking what's going in my X, Y, and Z. It's nice to feel like it's your own personalised food. Perfect. So then moving on to reception.
Yeah. So here's where I think people can get carried away, because you've got, band, I think we'll leave for another episode talking about bands versus DJs, or bands and DJs. But in terms of like additional things that need to be happening, so you've normally got your dance performances, and that's normally a surprise performance by a family member or by the couple. But then you can also get sort of dance members from external companies who can come perform for you. I think we did discuss this a couple of weeks ago. I was kind of the view that I don't think it's necessary. I think you start to get to a level where maybe this is becoming too much of a talent show.
I think I agree in that if you've got a lot going on and then you've got loads of speeches and you've got a family dance and then you've got a external professional dance performance, it can be too much. I do think it works particularly well in fusion weddings if one culture wants to show their culture, and that can be a nice compromise. So for example, if you were having one culture type of food and the other culture could be like a dance performance, and that way you're covering both cultures, and it's a nice compromise to have, I think.
Or you're really kind of strongly affiliated, or you have a really strong connection with that type of dance. For example, if it was like a Punjabi wedding and then you wanted Bhangra dancers, which maybe weren't the style of dance that your friends and family are doing, I think that might be nice. But yeah, if you're just getting professional dancers just come in and to do all sorts, I think it's probably not needed, especially in what is typically the most packed out part of the evening, or the packed out part of the day even. I
think, as you said, you've got to look at your timeline for the evening and see what you have what you have time for realistically, because if you've got lots of speeches, lots of dances, if you're serving starters, mains and desserts all to the table, chances are you aren't going to have a lot of time. So I'd say realistically what you can probably fit in will be a band, if that's part of your general DJ band setup, which like you said we'll talk about on a different episode, and then potentially a dance performance only if it means something to you or it means something to your culture and it's important for you to have. Don't just have it for the sake of it, in my opinion.
I think everything at the sit down meal should be an adjunct to the things that are core to the evening. And so by that I mean, for example, you already can have drinks, so have like flared drinks and cocktails and aesthetically pleasing drinks. The food, maybe have a live station, something like that. But if you're bringing in additional things that will kind of increase the timeline, I think you probably shouldn't be doing that. And one of those things which sort of fits into that is fireworks. Now, I like fireworks in that they look pretty, but if you're having a reception inside and you're having to transport 200 plus guests outside to view your fireworks, I don't think it necessarily is worth it.
I do. But that's because I love fireworks.
I don't know, because if you're like, you have to just look at the venue, and if you can get outside really quickly or you can see it from inside, great. I just think if you're gonna spend time going outside, coming back inside, and especially with like elderly people, they don't know what they're going outside for, and someone's like, oh, it's a surprise, but I mean, what surprise are going to be outside? It's obviously fireworks. Like, is it worth everyone's time? They're at the bar, suddenly the bar's closed. Like, I don't know, like, to make people move, again, this comes back to like guest welfare / guest management. Like, if you're making people do something which they don't necessarily want to do, you need to really question why you're doing it. Is it just for you? Like, there are certain things in a wedding that shouldn't be just for you, like your vows and all these kind of things, and the guests need to suck it up. But if you're doing something that is just for you, but is impacting everybody else, i.e. stopping them going to the bar, stopping them having their food on time, stopping them from listening to the DJ, you have to question, is it worth it? And it might be worth it. If it's like your absolute passion, fireworks are the thing that you love more than anything, great, do it.
Like me.
Yeah, apparently that's your lifelong passion, fireworks.
Yeah, but no, that's a good point. Think about if the entertainment requires them to get up and leave and come back, it's going to be minimum half an hour to move 200 guests outside, watch the fireworks, come back in, you're going to take for half an hour away from the dance floor. So just something to bear in mind from a practical point of view. I actually think we need to do this episode across two, because we haven't even really got into the reception part of it. So I think we might have to save the rest of reception and entertainment ideas, because we can talk about lots in terms of like...
Oh, okay, well, I'm all out, so...
Well, I've got loads more to talk about, like food trucks, dessert carts, favours, all of that stuff. So we can talk about maybe on next week's episode. I didn't realise we had so much to talk about. We didn't even get into like entrances or anything.
Yeah, who knew? I thought it was just going to be a buffer episode.
Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you next week for part 2 of entertainment.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.